That's right. NFL football. I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to talk about Shilo, Sanders, everything. I'm going to give you now my thoughts on the aftermath. I saw his video last night about, his response to being, as they say, waived from the Bucs. I'm going to start from the very beginning and go through this and give you detailed information like nobody else because guess what? I was here at the Alford Sports Talk Show. We had the distinct pleasure of covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'm going to give you some inside information. I'm going to answer all the questions and innuendos. I'm going to break it down for you, and I'm going to explain to you in detail, chronologically, if Shilo had a chance and what happened there down in Tampa right here on the Alford Sports Talk Show. It is going to be fantastic. The live chat is available and so much more. Let me go ahead and let you know that. Welcome to the Alford Sports Talk Show there. And got a lot to unpack. So let me go ahead and just kind of start from the beginning. Okay. When it came to Shilo Sanders, here at the Alford Sports Talk Show, I was able to go ahead and come down and cover the Bucs. This was July 31st, was the first day I was able to actually physically be at camp. I wasn't there the first weekend just because I was in Cooperstown covering the Hall of Fame weekend. So I came down on Military Day, July 31st, last day of the month, to go ahead and cover Bucs camp. It was a lot of things that happened because, Shilo was there. My first time covering an NFL training camp. Thank you to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the golden opportunity. Came there, and let me go and fast forward to what happened. So what ended up happening was, since it was my only day I was guaranteed to be there, I went ahead and went to the tent, and I was able to go ahead and ask Todd Bowles, Coach Bowles, this very question. I was able to go ahead and ask him and let you guys see it for yourself. Let me go ahead and show this for you. Let me go ahead and pull this up. All right, we're going to do this. There you go.
He came to visit his son. He didn't come visit me. He strictly came to see Shilo. I guarantee he didn't come to see me. Not that I don't like him, but he's probably going to visit his son. Who would be proud to have his son come out there? How is that? He's come along and getting the scheme down. He's made plays like everybody else back there. And, there's a few tests that come up on preseason. Tuesday night he's one. Three preseason games, practice with the other. So it's been great every year across the league. There was our military day. You got the anthem and everything else for those guys.
Let me show it to you here. For some reason, it's not coming through sound wise too good, but I'll show it to you real quickly.
He came to visit his son. He didn't come visit me. He strictly came to see Shilo. I guarantee he didn't come to see me. Not that I don't like him, but he's probably going to visit his son. Who would be proud to have his son come out there? How is that? Come along and get the scheme down. He's made plays like everybody else back there. And, there's a few tests that come up on preseason. Tuesday night he's one. Three preseason games, practice with the other. So he's got a chance to make it.
Okay, so Right there, coach looked me in the eye and said Shiloh Sanders has a very good shot of making the team. And just checking the way it was, that's I'm glad that he said that, because guess what? People was like saying, well, he's undrafted free agent. What chance did he have to make the team? Okay, here we go. For an undrafted free agent, UDFA, undrafted free agent, the chance of making a 53-man NFL roster is a long shot, with only 20% of signed undrafted free agents earning a spot at the end of training camp. However, these players make up a notable portion of every NFL roster, with around 40 to 60 undrafted free agents typically making an initial 53-man roster across the league each season. Despite the low odds, dozens of undrafted free agents make the cut every year and often find success by excelling in specific roles, impressing coaching staff, and benefiting from team needs. So it's highlighted there about 20%. Okay. I'm going to let you know right now, looking at Coach Bowles to my face, I wouldn't say that Shilo at this point, a week into camp, was at 20%. I would say he was at a good 25, maybe even 30% of making the roster. Not 20, 30, probably about 30%. 25, 30% is where he was at a week into training camp. So to make things easy for you, I'm going to break this down into grades. I would give Shiloh Sanders grade in training camp. I would give his overall grade. He did a great job with the fans. He connected well. Everything there was fantastic. In training camp, I would give Shiloh Sanders an A plus. In fact, I'll give him an A plus in training camp. Now we go to game one. Game one. So I would say, he has at least a 25% chance, maybe 30% chance coming into game one of the preseason. Game one, he did good, not great. When I say great, you need to have some interceptions, pass breakups. There was none of those, but overall, first rookie game in the NFL, did good. I would say I would give the grade for game one a B. So you have an A plus, Shilo, A plus for preseason, game one B. That's where I would rank his grade at that point. Got your feet wet. You're in Raymond James, first game. My kids were actually even more critical. They gave him a B minus. I still said, no, I'll give him a B. First game, rookie, you're sitting at a B. That's after game one. So far, so good. You shining bright like a diamond. A plus and a B, right? But guess what, folks? There's more. There's much more. There's games one. We got game one out the way. There's games 2 and 3. Now, the interesting thing is that at this point, after game one, there was another undrafted free agent who was basically in the same situation as Shilo, but he was actually in even a better situation as Shilo, and that was J.J. Roberts. J.J. Roberts was a defensive back who was very versatile. He could play corner and safety, and the kicker about J.J. Roberts was J.J. Roberts was the highest undrafted free agent from the Bucs. The Bucs basically paid him $300,000 for him to come into camp and show what he's got. So they definitely had a keen eye on him. At this point, after game one and in training camp, from all the reports, and based on what I saw as well, I couldn't disagree with all the reports. They had J.J. Roberts at this point making the team, and they had him outplaying Shilo and being in front of Shilo as far as if there was a between Shilo and J.J. Roberts, they had J.J. Roberts making the team. And you can't really argue that. But guess what happened now? J.J. Roberts got injured after game one. I'm not celebrating anybody getting injured, but he got injured after game one And not only was it an injury, it was a serious injury, so much so that before game 2, they had announced, the Bucs, about 2 or 3 days before game 2, they announced that JJ Roberts preseason and his hopes to make the team this year are over. He is going to be on injured reserve, and he's going to be out for the whole season. He's out. So I was just telling you at the game 1, he had about a 25-30% chance of making team. Now with JJ Roberts not available for the whole entire season, Shiloh's chances, in my view, are about at 40% to make the team. 40% going into game 2 to make this team. That's where I would put Shilo as far where he was at in making the Bucs 53-man roster coming into game 2. Coming into game 2, he had to do better than game 1, where much is asked, much is required. That's a biblical term. Where much is asked, much is required, meaning you have people interested in you. You got eyes on you. Game 2, you had to come out and have a great game. What happens? No JJ Roberts, 40% chance. And what does Shilo Sanders do? According to all the reports and based on what I've saw too, he had a lackluster game 2. Nothing great. No pass breakups, no interceptions, made a couple of tackles, missed a couple of tackles. At times during the game, watching the game myself, and again, I wanted Shilo to make the team. This point, he looked kind of lost in game 2. So what I would give the performance at this point, at the end of game 2, I would give it, he probably played about a C, but I would rank it down 1 to a D. And the reason why I would give it a D is because you had everybody pumped up and wanting for you to do great for game 2, and you did, is what the word that kept coming back out of all the news reports I read was lackluster, and I couldn't disagree with that. So I would give game 2 a D rating. So you have A+ preseason, B game 1, game 2 D. That's where we're at. So now we're trending downward. Okay. Folks, look, if you had one shot or one opportunity in one moment to seize everything you ever wanted, would you capture it or just let it slip? Eminem, Lose Control, verse 1. Look, at this point, Shilo had a golden opportunity, and he's letting that opportunity slip, not because of anything other than the performance on the field. I wouldn't say that he wasn't giving effort, but the performance on the field, the production on the field, games 1 was good. Game 2 was poor. Lackluster was what almost every article said. So now we come to game 3. Now I know at this point, people are going to say, well, you hater, you a hater. I'm not a hater, man. Let's go back for a moment and look at some facts. Okay. I just want to make sure I make this crystal clear, because I don't want anybody saying anything about me being a hater, because I'm not a hater. I'm a player congratulator. Let me show you this. This was on the Bucs website, right? It says, Alan, this is me. Keep pushing, Shilo Sanders. At camp on Thursday, Coach Bowles answered my question about you. You have a good chance of making the team. Keep the focus and keep pushing. Pass those tests. You got this. Go Bucs. And guess what? Shilo saw the comment and he liked it. And I appreciate him liking it. Okay. Let me just go another step further. What ended up happening is this. We were driving down Hillsborough Avenue. my kids and myself have seen a lot of Shiloh's food reviews. Where's the proof? There's the proof. Dummy Krabby. Dummy Krabby is one of the places that Shiloh Sanders did a review on. I was driving by Hillsborough Avenue. My son goes, "Hey, that's Dummy Krabby. That's the place where Shiloh ate at." There's the proof, folks. So I'm not a person who wasn't hoping that he made the team. No, sir, Bob. But I'm going to be honest in my assessment. I'm going to be straight up and honest in and that's what I'm going to do. So, preseason A+, game 1 B, game 2 D. Now we come to game 3. Game 3, I said at this point, game 3, Shiloh's going to have to do a BOGO, folks. A BOGO. You know what BOGO means? Buy one, get one free. Buy one, get one free. He was going to have not one pick. He was going to have at least 2 picks in game 3. He was going to have a sensational game. 2 picks, maybe a pass breakup, maybe a fumble. He was going to have a sensational game because you didn't do anything great in game 1. You didn't do anything great in game 2. And this, as Shiloh said in his video, and I've said it on my show before, this, folks, is the NFL, the not for long league. If you're going to mess with the not for long league, you better make sure you come correct, because right now it's not looking good. So much so at this point coming into game 3, I would say that coming into game 3 at this point, what's going on is it's like moving quick. Right there, Coach Todd Bowles, I would say, had his finger on the ejecto-cito cuz button. His finger was right on top of the ejecto-cito cuz button in the NFL when it came to Shiloh Sanders come game 3, because you're trending down. A+, B, D. His finger was right on the trigger of ejecto-cito cuz. And if you don't know what the ejecto-cito cuz means, I'm going to demonstrate it for you.
Ejecto-cito, cuz! It worked! I love this button! Stay on your toes, puto!
Ejecto-cito cuz. So right now, coming into game 3, that's where Shiloh was at, because you're trending down and things are not going well. The production on the field is not doing well. The production is not doing well. Get to game 3. And again, I wanted Shiloh to make this team. We go into game 3, and I'm like, well, I wasn't confident because I've taken statistics. Props to Professor Carlins in University of South Florida, USF, go Bulls. See my diploma right there. Outstanding statistics teacher. And I knew, looking at the stats, that it wasn't going to be likely that Shiloh was going to get not even just 1 pick, but let alone 2. Now, could it happen? Sure. He was due for a pick. He didn't have one in a while. So it could have happened, but to get 2, I don't know. But he had to have a BOGO. There was no other option in game 3. You didn't. This is where you were at. So game 3 comes along, and right off the bat, he gets a pass interference on number 84, Zach Davison, the tight end. I'm going to talk about Mr. 84 a bit later, but right now we're going to focus just on Shiloh. Pass interference. You got to defend without fouling, and right off the bat, not good. Next thing happened, he missed a tackle. So it's not a good start. Missed tackle, penalty. Then he missed another tackle, and then this tackle really had a face mask attached to that tackle, but they didn't call the face mask. He got lucky on that one. Not a good start. Not a good start at all. So right now at this game, and the crazy thing about game 3 is games 1 and 2, he came in the second half. Game 3, he started. It kind of caught me off guard because I was like, oh, snap, he's starting. Game 3 was not starting off well at all. Not a good start. So then what happens? Well, number 84 does some, let me just call for what it is. Number 84, Zach Davidson, did some Bush League tactics on Shilo. Okay, this is not the movies. You don't have to hold the block till the guy gets all the way to the parking lot. This is not the movies. Okay, you can just, you're 6'7", you can just push him off. The play was already 25 yards away. You can just push him off, and that's all you need to do. You don't have to do all that extracurricular activity. Now, in games 1 and 2, I saw some of the players doing some extracurricular activities to Shiloh too, but nobody was as egregious as number 84, Zach Davidson. And a lot of people on TikTok, which I'm going to get to them in a moment, but a lot of people on TikTok said Zach started a fight. And you know what? You're absolutely right. You're not going to get an argument from me. Absolutely right. Zach Davidson did some Bush League tactics, and he started the altercation with Shilo Sanders. You're not getting an argument from me at all. But just like Lou Holtz said, life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you respond to it. Life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you respond to it. How did Shilo respond? He threw 2 right hooks, not 1, 2. The second one you get a chance to see really clearly. But if you watch from the end zone going back out, not the opposite angle that they showed a lot, which was the reverse. If you see from the end zone coming back out, you could clearly see, clear as day, Shilo throws 2 punches, 2 right hooks. I cover box at 2. 2 right hooks. And ref is standing right there. Both of them just throw the flag up, put laundry on the field. And guess what? The ref said ejectocito cuz. Kicked out of the game. But wait, there's more. So now he's walking off the field. And when he walks off the field, the coach gives him, first of all, that angry, you messed up, scowly look at Shilo. Now, me, folks, let me give you a little bit of background. I'm at 505. 505 is the amount of interviews I've done. 505. I've interviewed a lot of head coaches. Lots. Anytime a head coach give you that scowly look, they're not impressed. And not only did he give a scowly look, he said something too. Wasn't a good look walking off the field. With the assistance of Assist Live, let me show you this photo right here. Assist Live. Props Assist Live, because in the second half of the game, after the second quarter, Shilo gets thrown out around 6 minutes, 30 seconds left before the halftime. At the third quarter, right after halftime, I went on Assist Live and TikTok, and I basically broadcast about 20 minutes of the game. During that time, right after the ejection in the third quarter, I had basically said at that point that, you know what, it's not going to happen. Let me just go ahead and show you 2 quick videos of what I basically said during that third quarter. Because if you're one of the players that get cut as a safety or corner, defensive back, I just don't see how you don't argue that, hey, how does Shilo make the team and I don't? He played good. I played great. And I played all the games. You know, I just don't see how as a coach you can not argue that point, because then it would be favoritism. He'd kick us up and it is good. Field goal, 20-10, Buffalo, 7 minutes, 43 seconds in the third quarter. I just don't see how you can make that argument as a coach why you would choose Shilo over somebody else on the team as a defensive back. Let me show you the short video, and this says it all right here. Through that right hook, That right hook was expensive because you got kicked out of the game. Not in the position you want to be in. Did not show good. Did not show good restraint of your emotions. So really unfortunate. And I just think of if you're Todd Bowles on Tuesday, which you have to make a decision right after the weekend, I just don't see how you survive if you're Shilo Sanders. Yeah, I said it right on during the game, third quarter. I don't see how you survive as Shilo Sanders. And what I also predicted in the longer version was that Shilo was going to get probably cut on Monday or Tuesday. I said it during the game, probably Monday or Tuesday. He's going to get called into the office. Well, the only part of that equation I was wrong on was that it wasn't Monday or Tuesday. It was Sunday. It was Sunday. The game was at 7:30 at night, Saturday night, and Shilo gets cut on Sunday. Adam Schefter breaks the news 11:30 a.m. on Sunday, which means that more than likely Shilo got the notice early that morning, probably around 9 o'clock on Sunday, that he's waived. Where I'm from, where I'm growing up, it's cut. He got cut from the team on Sunday, not even 24 hours after the game. So the good news is the coach did press a button, but he pressed the button before the ejecto seat, cuz after the ejection, this button right here is what the coach pressed before the ejecto seat, cuz.
That was easy. That was easy.
That's right. When you throw right hooks, you get the ejection. You made the decision easy for the coach. Easy. There's nothing to think about. Automatic. To prove that point, let me show you this video. Let me show you this video.
Shilo Sanders after that ejection.
I know you can't throw punches in this league. I mean, that's inexcusable. They're gonna get you every time. Got to grow from that.
And then what did you say to the officials after that? It looked like you were possibly trying to argue with
We're
them.
talking about.
Yep. Coach said it was inexcusable. Inexcusable. Translation, you're not recovering from that. You're not recovering. So to me, it was a no-brainer he was going to get cut coming up. It was inexcusable. So I knew he was going to get cut. It was going to me, the only thing that was going to be Monday or Tuesday, but it happened on Sunday, even quicker than I thought. You know, that's the thing. So again, folks, if you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? Eminem, Lose Control, verse 1. Shilo had a great opportunity. Shilo had a great opportunity. This had nothing to do with Shedeur Sanders. One of the things that he said in that video last night that kind of really got me so mad. I respect the video and everything, but that last minute, Shedeur, you see what's going to happen to me. No, that had nothing to do with what happened on the game 1, 2, and 3. Game 1, 2, and 3 is where this whole deal fell apart. Games 1, 2, and I wouldn't even say game 1. Let's say games 2 and 3. Because game 1, I don't feel like after game 1, you were going to get cut. You actually were hanging tough. Games 2 and 3 is where this deal fell apart. Then people was asking on TikTok, as an undrafted free agent, does Shilo really have a chance to make team? Yes, he did. I would say it went from 25% when I talked to the coach up to 40% when JJ Roberts went down. After game 2, it went down to 20%. And after game 3, it went down to 1%. That's how it went. 1%. Not a 0%. I would say he had 1% chance after game 3. So Yes, he had a chance, and I'm gonna prove it to you. Look, let me go ahead and show you this first. Trio of undrafted free agent players make the Buccaneers 53-man roster and for the 2025 season. So 3 players that were in the same situation as Shilo Sanders got signed. And I'm kid you not, if JJ Roberts was trending the same way he was and did not get hurt, it would have been 4 because JJ Roberts was going to make this team. You pay somebody $300,000 as an undrafted free agent, you have an interest in signing them. It's just a matter of them stepping up to the plate. 3 players were made the 53-man roster from the Bucs. Yes. Yes. To me, that statement that Shilo said at the end of that video was kind of like negative confirmation about him not making the team. You know, you didn't make the team because you didn't play good enough. That's where the opportunity went. You didn't play good enough. I asked the coach myself. He said in his own words, you have a good shot of making the team. Period. I can only take a man at his word. And he said it. I asked him basically how is Shilo doing, and he made that statement. And guess what, folks? Another thing too. 19 different articles were generated from me asking those 2 questions to coach. One of them, the first 2 was used by NFL.com, and most of the other 18 articles use question 2. They use that same quote that he said verbatim. So yes, as an undrafted free agent, Shilo had an outstanding opportunity to make this team. And again, JJ Roberts got hurt after game 1. He was out for the season. It was there for the taking. But people are not going to give you something you didn't earn. You didn't earn a spot on the team. So what I'm going to say is this. After watching this video, I'm going to say a couple things. Let me just show you this quick video real quick. And then I'm going to get into where do we go from here. Yep. Yeah. Shilo needed to do at least 2 of those in game 3. Not get thrown out the game. Not get thrown out the game. He needed to do at least. And guess what, folks? It was painful. It was painful for me. It was. But guess what? I end up being 100% right. I wanted Shilo to make this team. But at the end of the day, the production on the field wasn't good enough. So where do we go from here? I watched that video he said. I watched it 2 times, multiple times. I always try to watch the video at least 2 times to make sure I don't miss any pointers. Where do we go from here? Well, what we go from here is this. Let me show you this right here. And this tells it all. These are NFL draft files, got to give them credit. But these are the stats right here of Shilo Sanders in 83 preseason snaps. 39.1. That's Pro Football Focus grade. It's out of 100. It's 39.1. 38% missed tackle rate. 100% passer rating allowed, meaning all of the pass that the quarterback tried to get to the target that Shilo was taking, was guarding, was 100%. 0 pass breakups, 0 INTs, 1 quarterback hit, 4 tackles, 2 penalties, 1 ejection. And I got to give a fan credit for this. Fan brought this to my attention, and I got to give him credit. And that is what a fan brought to my attention was Shilo Sanders had more ejections than he did pass breakups or INTs. And that's a fact. I was like, you know what? That's kind of cold, but that is true. So Where do we go from here is this. If you're Shilo Sanders and you could look at these stats and your performance and everything that happened over the training camp and the 3 games and say to yourself, I can play at least 25% better than what these stats suggest, then I would say don't quit, keep going forward. If you can do these stats and this is the player that you are, and you can only do 5, 10, or 15% better than this, I would say you have a point, and maybe God has given you another talent, another gift that you should maybe try to tap into. Football is nothing wrong with that. Not everybody plays in the NFL. They're not for long league, and not everybody's built to be an NFL football player. If you can only do about 15% better than this, and you could really be honest with yourself, I would say it's not going to be good enough in most cases to make most of the NFL teams. It's not meeting the grade. But if you can do this and 25% better than what you're seeing right here on this screen, then I would say don't quit. Don't quit. That's what I would say. Not saying you should do one or the other, but if it's 25% better than what you've done so far, I would say continue playing. Don't quit. But if it's 5% better, 10 or 15, more than likely, you're just extending the inevitable that you're going to may have to tap into another interest. That's what I would say. I would also say, I really wanted Shilo to make this team. And this is not hating. This is a guy who's really like, come on, man, let's go. Let's go. Game 1B, game 2D, game 3 and F. And I would say this much. In life, this is some great advice I'm going to give you. I told my kids this all the time. You never, ever, ever want to take a 0 in your average. Never take a 0 in your average. Meaning, if a teacher's giving you a pop quiz, get a 40, get a 50 on it. Don't take a 0. You never want a 0 in your average. The performance on Saturday night, getting ejected from a game, is a F. 0. It's a 0. You never want a 0 in your average. You're going to get haters and baiters in life all day long. You see that book right there, Sell Your Little Heart Out? I literally wrote the book on, it's this way. I literally wrote the book on haters and baiters. You're going to get people that's going to bait you, and you're going to get people that are going to hate on you. Sometimes you're going to get a combination of both. Yeah. Like Lou Holtz said it. Life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you respond to it. You can't throw right hooks in the NFL. I cover boxing. We can set up something with covering some boxing. If you want to do right hands, throw up a couple of jabs up in there. But yeah, you can't respond. And I laid it out here perfectly. The proof is in the pudding. 3 Buccaneer players in the same situation made the roster. And I'm telling you, if J.J. Roberts wasn't getting hurt, it would have been 4. That's a fact. That's a fact. Okay. I spoke to the coach. That was a pass breakup. You need to do more of that. Keep pushing, Shilo. He liked the comment. I asked the coach. I spoke to the coach. Folks, if you had one shot or one opportunity in one moment to seize everything you ever wanted, would you capture it or just let it slip? Shilo Sanders, in conclusion, let a golden opportunity slip. Don't say about Shador. Don't talk about somebody else's opportunity. You had an opportunity, a golden opportunity. J.J. Roberts got hurt. The highest paid undrafted free agent, making $300K, got injured for the season and they announced it before game 2. And what did you do? You fumbled the bag. You fumbled it. And you made it so the coach had to do something that he probably didn't want to do. And that is,
That was easy. That was easy.
you made an easy decision for him. If you could do 25% better, don't quit. If it's going to be less than that, you might want to look at another interest, because this is in the NFL, man. NFL don't play. NFL don't play. The NFL don't play. Yeah. So I want to make sure I got everybody's question in there. Was Shilo given a fair shot? Absolutely, positively, yes. No doubt about it. This was all about a missed opportunity. Nothing more than that. Nothing more than a missed opportunity. Not seizing an opportunity. Did he generally have a chance to secure a spot as an undrafted free agent? Yes. Yes, he did. Absolutely. Ask those three guys on the Bucs, the trio. Ask the 40 to 60 undrafted free agents, typically making an initial 53-man roster across the league each season. Ain't got nothing else. See, some people, it hurts sometimes when people miss an opportunity. It hurts them to admit they missed an opportunity. And I'm a fair guy. We coming back to, that's what it is. Somebody commented me, by the way, on the chat about that quote. It's so true in life. My kid, Dummy Krabby. Hey, that's the restaurant. We was on Hillsborough Avenue. That's the restaurant right there, Dummy Krabby. He did a food review on that. By the way, I do need to go to one of those restaurants that he did on Channel Side and check out the breakfast brunch. I'm gonna definitely do that. Yeah. What other questions we had on here? Analyze the ejection details, explore whether there's a conspiracy against the Sanders family. And there's no, look, I will say, I'll have to talk about Shador another day, but I'm going with Shilo and his opportunity, because at the end of the day, they weren't evaluating Shador on the field. The Bucs have made 4 division titles. They're going for 5 this year. This is not the bottom of the barrel team. You had Tom Brady playing for this team and won a ring. You got to play. You got to perform. You got to perform. And it's not for long. You don't have a long time to sit around. You got to shine, and you got to shine quick, because otherwise they don't play in the NFL, man. They don't play. Yeah, this is a missed opportunity. That's what it is. Missed opportunity. That's what it ended up. Ejectocito, cuz. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It really is. You just can't. If somebody baits you in the NFL, you just gotta, tell them to back up. You can't throw hands, because anybody in the NFL. If you retaliate, you're the one going to get ejected. That's it. They ain't playing games. Now, I know that in this same game that I showed you, the Sanders run back, that same game, Primetime was throwing hands with Andre Rison, but that was years ago. The rules are different now. Can't throw right hands. He was throwing a lot of haymakers. Can't do that now. But yes, I'm not going to say either which way as far as what Shilo should do. I would just say, if you can play 25% better than those stats I put up there, then don't quit. If it's 5% better, 10% or 15%, I would say you may have to look at doing something else, because it's just not going to be good enough. This 39.1 player Football Focus, this is out of 100. Out of 100. It's got to be at least 25% better than this. And I give Fran credit. 1 ejection, no INTs, no pass breakups. You had more ejections than you had pass breakups and INTs. That is not cutting the grade in the NFL by a long shot. Tell you that right now.